Okay, the next step I wanted to describe is the délestage step. It's moving the cap from the fermenter, which is all the grape skins, to another bucket, and the idea is to gently aerate all the juice underneath it. So what happens is, let me just draw out, the fermentation vessel has this region where the cap is, and the juice is underneath. What I'm going to do is move this temporarily to another vessel at the bottom, so that goes down here, and I'm going to move this juice by hand, scoop by scoop, into what I have a stainless steel fermenter. It's a boiler. It's a brew kettle, but it's got a tap at the bottom, which is convenient. So I'm going to move the juice into here. And the idea is to aerate the juice aggressively to get a lot of oxygen introduced to it. It also renews the layer of juice right here underneath the cap is the most concentrated for yeast and for the sugars and all the phenolics, the integration between the juice and the cap. We want to get that mixed as much as possible, but without being aggressive, because if you're aggressive you get bitter tannins. So I'm going to move the juice into this vessel here, and the idea is I can't really do this as a home winemaker the proper way, so this is my version of it. You're supposed to let the cap drain here and then put it back in, but I can't do that. I have to literally move it. The idea was to keep it intact. What I'm going to attempt to do is move it, punch it down, and compact it so that when I put the juice back on top of it, it will hopefully melt into the juice slowly and integrate and release a lot of the polyphenols. So the idea is I'm going to have another bucket. This will drain into here, and I'll aerate at this point as well. So aeration going in, aeration here, and then we'll move it on top of the cap, a third level of aeration. Alright, so here's the two buckets we're going to do a délestage. This is the Carmenere. It's 8 gallons there, it's 24 here. Together we got 32 gallons. And I'm going to take the cap off and put it temporarily into this other bucket. So we scoop it off, and it does get messy because I make a lot of spills, but the idea is to try to get the cap separated from the juice. So the cap that I'm moving, all the grape skins, most of the solids, will take up, in this case it's taking up about half of the volume, and I'm getting some juice, but that's okay. So now we'll move the juice portion into now let's take a look inside there. Pour it in there. It aerates, and as you can see, the skins and the seeds will stay on top, separate from the juice. I can actually pour this in, I think, but let's take a couple of scoops first. Now the yeast need oxygen all through the early part of the fermentation. Oxygen is bad for wine at the end of fermentation, but right now it's good. And so aerating it is healthy. It keeps the yeast vital. Okay, let's see what happens here. Now the idea is I'm also trying to separate the juice from the seeds, and I need to remove the seeds at the bottom. The seeds add the bitterness, sometimes in wine, but boy, does that look good. So as you can see, look at all those seeds. So pour it slowly, let the juice separate. And I twist. Now you're supposed to do this in theory twice a day, but there's no way I can do this kind of labor twice a day. So even if I do it once during the cycle of fermentation, which is about between 7 and 10 days, it's going to remove enough seeds where I think it's going to help the wine. But this is the labor-intensive part of home winemaking. Okay, now if you can look in there, that's mostly just all seeds, all clumped together. So by removing this here, it makes a softer, rounder, better wine in the end. So of course that's in theory. I hope it works because there's a lot of work involved into this. Okay, see you in the next segment. So it's been 2 hours and this juice has been aerating and settling. The cap over here has been compacting, basically just resting side by side. But now I'm going to actually open this up, let it pour and splash into another bucket, and then I'll put that on top. There we go. Look at the color, huh? Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, it smells awesome. So this is Carmenere. It's beautiful. It's coming out. This is only day, what? Did you say Thursday, Friday? Day 3. It's not even done fermenting. I mean, it's only halfway. 1/3 actually. So as it settles out, I'll take these skins and also put them on top of the cap, and I'll start to do this vessel over here, the 24 gallons. I'm basically almost done devatting the big barrel, and I just wanted to take a moment to show the seeds. There are a lot of seeds in here, and this is why I do it, to see if I can get rid of them in different parts of the different days of the fermentation. So there's quite a bit in there. So I'll clean this out. I'll remove the rest of this wine and let it rest. I'll put the juice back in here, and then, sorry, that's not what I do. I put the cap back at the bottom, and then in a couple hours I'll put the juice back in top of the cap. This is now what I did is I replaced the cap back into the bottom. It's hard to see, but the cap is now back into the barrel. And I just want to show how many seeds came out of 2 of these barrels. That's a bucket of seeds. And I hope that's the difference between a good wine and a great wine, is to remove these. It's all these little details that you have to do. So that's quite a bit. And I have one more to do today. This is the other one I want to do, which is Merlot. It's going to take another hour or 2. Alright, so I'll do that one, and I'll see you in the next segment.